Hey everyone, it's Mike here with Computer Cuisine Deluxe 7.0. Wanted to do a video on how you can print your recipes. It's obviously very important to print recipes once they're in your collection. So how do you print? Well, I set this up fairly easily so that it'd just be as simple as possible to where you just click print from the main menu. Now that will send a file to press and send it to print. And you may ask, hey, wait a minute, how do I choose the size? How do I choose the color if I have a color printer or what have you? Well, that's all from the settings. Again, I wanted this to be as simple as possible so that you wouldn't have to answer questions each time you just clicked print, but instead you can set them up ahead of time so that when you do click print, it will remember your settings and just print it that same way going forward. And you can always obviously change your settings. So in the settings menu, you'll see general preferences, email, and then obviously your printing preferences. Now, here's where you can select certain powerful features that you will not have to change each and every time you want to send something to the press. So if you wanted to always have a recipe photo included when you print out your recipes, you just simply select yes. Do you want to have the footer, which has some information at the bottom of the page? You just click yes. They're fairly self-explanatory. However, I wanted to highlight this because now when you click yes and you go back to the main menu, when you hit print, obviously it will be different. It will print out that extra photo menu. It will print out the footer. It will print out extra, the icon, I believe I set to yes. It'll print out those extra things, but you'll still just be able to click one button, print. Another feature to know is that you get to set your default font size, your ink, and your default print size right from here. So if you always wanted to print to a 3x5 card, you just set that to the small setting. And it has some information to tell you what the small, medium, large, and binder prints consist of. And really, this is just set up so that when you print to the 3x5 layout, it's set up so that when cut and folded, it will fit right into the size of a 3x5 card. Now, that works for most recipes, but some exceedingly long recipes obviously are going to be too long to fit. You may want to do a 4x6 card, or the default, the large letter size, is a letter size, so it can print to multiple pages no matter how long your recipe is. The default ink will allow you to obviously default to color or black and white, and that really just determines what layout you select. So if you have a color printer, it'll be essentially the same sizing and the same font sizing. It will just print to a layout that has a little splash of color in it. Lastly, you have your default print font sizes. So you have essentially small, medium, and large. You have small, smaller, and smallest. So it's set to the standard. I shouldn't say small, smaller. It's just standard, smaller, and smallest. So it's set to a standard font size that works great. The defaults are really the ideal print option, but they will print to a letter size. So you have your choice here. So it's really important to kind of toggle some of these options that you have and make sure that everything suits your needs. And all of these here will affect the main menu print option. Now, what happens if you're in the list menu? Well, if you're in the list menu, as shown in the video that I made for the list menu, you can do batch printing by simply clicking on the print checkbox, and you will see little checkboxes that essentially sign these up for slated to print. So when you click print here, it will print all of the icons with a little check, and that's why it has an icon for check. Now, what size is it going to print? What ink is it going to print? What have you? Well, again, that's through the print menu settings. So you just go to settings, go to print, and when you go to the list print option right here, this is where you get to select the default print size of large black and white print. So that's what it defaults to, the letter size. But if you wanted to do a batch printing for all those as a 3x5 card, you can set it to small black and white print. And now when you go back to just the list, it will default to that smaller size for the list printing option only. So I'm going to go ahead and set that back to large. So pretty much all the defaults are set up for the ideal printing, but you never know. You may have a better option that you would like to set up, and everything is going to be set up in your print settings menu. So from the future, you just have to click print from here or print checked to print all of these. Thanks.